Hi, I'm Aaron, the owner of Brisbane Yamaha, and I just had one of my mates, Ian David, come in, and he said, what's the difference between the Fishabout PRO and the Top Ender Pro? I said, that's funny, because I've got both of them right here. Put it on, Dan. He's in the witness protection program. Hey, not too long. Now, over here, I don't want all the groupies seeing him. Now, have a look over here, because the Fishabout's been famous. It's been around since the 60s, but this is about its 10th generation. And I've got to tell you that this one is the best they've ever made. Now, why is that? Well, it's got the flared bow. Up until this year, it didn't have the flared bow, so it didn't have the full blade hull. Have a look at the shape of the hull. And what's more is, like, top enders are famous, as you know. A lot of people think that a top ender is just a side console. It's not. It's a little bit like a jet skis, a Kawasaki, or, you know, an Esky was a brand, tissues are a brand. Well, people think top ender is a brand. It's just that they're the best side console you can have. And the thing about Fishabouts, so they've got the same hull, and it's that same shape. Now, have a look down. It's a beautiful boat. They're under 750, so there's no brake trailer. They're really easy to use. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the truther meter and measure these things, and Dan will put the specs up because it's a big 430. Now, come down and have a look at the side, Dan, and into it. You know, what happens with it? They come with everything. And the blokes at Quintrex have really done a lot of thought, and this boat's going out, so I'm not putting it on the water because the customers asked me not to. But have a look. You got that famous Yamaha 60. Dan will put up the specs. There's just no beating a 60. They're the most reliable, smoothest. And the thing about these four-strokes are they'll sit on the plane. So what does that mean? It means you get up on the plane and it's not going to just slip off and fall back like a lot of other motors do. The four-stroke, it's just four-stroke Yamaha. You know, it's nearly 1,000 cubes. Just has that grunt to keep it there and beautiful. Look, we've got ladders back here. It's got that awesome transom. Have a look at that. If you're ever worried about water coming over or something, it's never ever gonna happen. You've got a couple of transducer brackets for those blokes who want a couple of sounders. It is it's not technically a drive-on trailer, but I drive them on all the time, and a little boat like this, you can just do it. Now, what we've done is, because this is gonna be sold, I thought, well, let's just show everything that you actually get. So you get anchors, and you can choose an anchor. This man's wanted this 8-pounder, 4.5 kilo jobby. You get your safety gear with oars and V-sheet, signalling mirror, bailing bucket. And what we do is, you get flares and a fire extinguisher. Now, I once had a fire on a boat. It was because my mate liked cooking sausages. And it wasn't a windy day, and he cooked sausages down the back of the boat, right near the fuel tank. And luckily, he just caught on fire a bag. But I can tell you, it was one of the scariest moments I've ever had, because what do? Stay in the boat, or you're in the water with the sharks? I don't know. So I don't like any fires, anything in a boat, unless it's a big boat. Now, have a look in here. We'll have a look around it, and come over here and have a look at this top ender, Dan. Come out in the road and we'll try not to get run over. There's another 430 Fishabout going out. Go into detail, and by the looks of the mud on it. Now, come back here, Dan. Don't show too much. Have a look at the side of this top ender with the bimini console. And I'm going to have a look inside in a minute, just so you can see the different configuration between the side console and the runabout. Now, let's go over. I'll get the truther meter and we'll take some measurements. We get the truther meter out, Brisbane Yamaha truther meter. Come on, Ian. Now, Ian's a valuer. Sells farms, values stuff. Let's get on the bow. We thought we'd have him. Come down here, Dan, because you know they always think I'm cheap. It's a 430 and it's 440 long. 440 to the back of the transom. That's interesting. Let's go across and see the beam, Ian. And we'll come at the back of the rail. 2 metres 13. You see that? Now let's go with that bimini, the bimini bracket. 2 metres 16. All right, now what we'll do, let's see the workable area. If you go to the back of the rear seat, Ian. Oh, he stuffed this up. Yeah. Okay, you get to there, and what we'll do is we'll come to the dash. So you hold it there, Ian, is that right? And have a look at that dash. You've got 2 metres, almost 2.3 inside. So you've got 2.3 long, and then onto the inside of the gunnel there, Ian. 1735. That's interesting. Now let's go and have a look over here. The hole's going to be the same size, Ian, but we'll just check. Oh, we'll just make sure. Go, let's have a look quickly, because if we don't measure it, someone will say, oh, you didn't measure it for a reason. You can see there on the top end, we got a bow mount. Yeah, it's the same boat. Let's make sure we go across. Can anyone remember how much that was first time? 12, well, 13. It's a little bit narrower. You holding in the same place?
Same place.
Rails a little bit further back maybe. Go back to here. 10 mils narrower. Let's have a look up here. Don't know how that is. Anyway, the truthometer doesn't lie. That's why it's called the truthometer. That's why you come to Brisbane Yamaha, you grab one, 2 metres 50. Okay, and then we'll get in front side of him in a minute. Let's go down and just see what we've got working area. You got that, Ian? Yeah, he's good at this tape measures. I suppose you've used a lot of tape measures in your day, Ian?
Every day.
2,930. Every day he's measuring people's houses, farms, he's doing stuff. And now, let's see what sort of 5, it's actually taller than a Renegade inside. Look at that. She's 550, and I'll just measure this one. Wouldn't you use like electronic tape measures now, Ian?
It's all electronic.
5 metres 50. Now we'll quickly hop inside. You can have that, Ian, for helping me. Thanks very much. I normally sell them for 12 bucks. You can have it for 7.50. So this boat's going out. Safety gear, fuel tank. Under there, have a look at that good there. Fuel filter, clear bowl. Battery isolation, easy to get. Rear seat. You can move the rear seat up to here. You've got a couple of deck cabin lights. Right, and then you come up, a couple of drink holders, 703 control box. You've got a Lawrence Hook 5 here. The boat can take 5 people. Glove box, you looking at that? Glove box. Right, we've got a nice anchor well. Now see the floor here? As you know, I'm 6'4", and my legs, it's ergonomic. I wouldn't cut that seat down at all. I'd have that. That's beautiful. I can hold onto the rail. You know, if I didn't have that bimini up and it just comes down, I should show people how to use a bimini, because you'd think you know, but you don't. Now, I could hold that. I'm looking at the gauges. I'm looking at the sounder. Split screen, which is awesome. Love that. Put a mobile phone, couple of ham and pickle sandwiches. These are drink holders. My wife, if Chardonnay came in a tin can, I tell you, she'd be into it. In Japan it does. And then don't show my butt, Dan. Look in there. Look at the size of that anchor well. All poly-molded with a drain, with a tie-off point, really good cleat, good rails. You know, I could just throw that anchor out over there. Now, when you're putting anchors out, the idea is to lower them down so you don't scare everything, making noise. These blokes that just throw it, bang, then you sit there waiting for the fish to come back. Just lower it in and try not to make too much noise banging around in the boat. Nav lights, good windscreen. This step down is a game changer in terms of room. Side pockets, you've got the accessory bracket there. There you can put a ski pole in, you can put a bait board in it. You know, there's a few little things. Let's go. You can see the panel over there. We've got a USB. I put USBs in nearly everything. Stainless steel rod holders, you know, I've spoken about it before. Now, let's have a look at this new boat, where this is going out as well, but it hasn't got a motor on it. It's getting F60, because F60 is the maximum. This can take 5 people as well. And just have a look at the storage that's in it. Once again, we can get to the top. Have a look at that. That's for a battery, you know, because if you own this boat as a top ender, you put them in coda up on this bow mount. Good anchor well there. And don't forget, when you get your boat if it's painted in Quintrex, you get your boat shampooed. Treat a boat like a luxury car, not a piece of farm machinery. But the boat like this, I wouldn't be anchoring it. I'd very rarely anchor this, I reckon. I'd have the Minn Kota on it. Have a look inside. Plenty of storage for tackle. Battery up the front. Good console. Couple of lights. I'd probably change and put a rod holder here so it comes up. Couple of drink holders. Side pockets for some lure, for some stuff. Now, back here, Dan, have a look under the floor. Auto bilge. Battery out the side. Fuel filter. All of the same stuff. And then on the other side is a good looking live bait tank. Now, live bait tank, not the biggest live bait tank in the world, but this isn't the biggest boat either. But this is what I'd call a pocket rocket. I would take this marlin fishing. I'm not joking. Awesome up in estuaries, any impoundment, you're going to be the king of the impoundment. But on those days where it's nice, I'm telling you, me and one of my kids or a couple of the kids, maybe I'd take 4 of my kids, I got 4, we'd all go out there and catch some marlin. Hopefully it'd be all right. In a boat like this, very, very capable. And you could usually get a good size in front. So the same boat, but they look completely different, don't they? Now biminis, I'll show you some quick and easy ways. With these 4-bow biminis like this, it's really easy. But what you do is you pull down on the bar, right? So I'm not pulling down like this, right, because that's hard. But when you just put your weight on the bar, it's easy, right? So I'll do that, pull it down, that comes off. And see, that all folds back. And I wanted to show you that because that gives a boat like this where you're up flicking lures, you're in the nose, you're outside, you've seen a boat squall, you're in. Now, on a Fishabout, a bimini like this, the best idea is to undo these rear thumb screws, and I'll show you why in a minute, because you want to have a bimini tight. And when it's tight, it doesn't flap behind the car, and what it doesn't do is collect water. And when they collect a lot of water, so you loosen that up, and then you can just simply take these clips off. Do you see that? And I'll tell you, when you go and try and take the clips off, if you don't undo the back, and then pull it down, tighten it up, do the thumb screw up. I reckon that's a marriage saver. Now, I'll see you tomorrow with another YouTube. See you on the water.